Hello, in this video I would like to talk about one of the SQL operations called the restriction. A restriction operation produces a horizontal subset of a given table based upon some specific comparison conditions. So for example, here we have an employee table having employee ID as last name, first name, and the salary as its columns. Instead of showing all the rows, we can say I would like to see employee 102's information. For example, like this: 102 Erickson, Nancy, and 120,000. In that case, we take only this much horizontal subset from this table. Another condition may be show me all the employee information making more than or equal to, let's say, $100,000. In that case, only 101 and then 102 should satisfy the condition. So this will be produced. Alright, so let's look at how we implement the restriction operation in SQL. As you may remember from the previous projection operation video, a SQL query has the following form, including a select, from, where, group by, having an order by clauses. In the restriction operation, we specify the comparison condition or comparison conditions connected by the logical operator after where. Okay. So in this tutorial, primarily we're going to use a select, from, and where to explain the concept of restriction operations. Alright, so let's create a table called EMP and populate it with the data. If you actually have a table named EMP in your current database, when you execute this script, the previous one will be deleted. Okay, so if you need to save the previous employee data, you may want to save it somewhere else before you execute this script. Alright, so as you may remember from the previous video, this one was generated by the GUI graphical user interface from the SQL Studio. Alright, so this one basically creating a table, EMP, under the schema called the DBO. So as you may remember, DBO is a default schema, and after we create the table, we enter data like this. Okay, so let's make a copy. From the top, okay, all the way to the end of this data entry. Make a copy and go to your database, and then find your database. Okay, and then open your new query if you have to. Okay, and then make a paste. Okay, so now we have a DDL, data definition language script for table EMP, and then also data insertions using insert into statement. Alright, so let's execute that. Alright, so it looks like it is successful. So as usual, go to your database table and refresh it, and then make sure you have a table like a dbo.emp. So again, EMP is the table name, and DBO is the schema where the EMP is defined. Alright, okay, let's start with a simple one restriction condition first. Okay, so let me make a copy of these three statements. Okay, and then paste it in our database. Okay, let me get a new window and paste it. Okay. Before that, let me show you what data we have. So select star. If you remember, star means all columns from the table. So table name is EMP. Okay. So let's take a look. So here we have 9 rows, 101, 102, all the way to 109. So cardinality of this table is 9. Also we have columns including MPID, LName, salary, hire date, termination date, and the department number. Alright, so the degree of this table is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, so instead of showing all the employees like that, we may say, hey, give me an employee ID and the salary from this employee table only if the salary is greater than or equal to 50,000. Okay, so if you only do this, so this is a typical projection operation. Okay, it will show you the all employees, employee ID, and salary, and then we can add a restriction condition about salary, saying, hey, show me all those data only if salary is greater than or equal to 50,000. Okay, so if you do that, and 101, the salary is greater than 50,000, so it will be included, and 102 also greater than 50,000, that will be included. But 103, 104, their salaries are less than 50,000, so those 103 and the 104 will not be included. So let's take a look. So as we predicted, so 103, 104, those are gone because their salaries are not satisfying the condition specified over here. Alright, how about show me the employee ID and the last name and salary of employee Johnson. Okay, so in that case, you can specify the restriction condition on the last name. So last name, show me those MPID, last L name, and salary only if the last name is Johnson. Okay, so as you can see over here, to specify Johnson, we use the single quote. Okay, single quote. Okay, so because if you remember, the last name has a data type of a varchar, okay, or n varchar. In that case, you need to use a single quote to specify the value. Okay, so if you do that, so let's do this first. And if you execute this much, then you have everybody, right? But if you add a Johnson, and now only 103 has the last name Johnson. Okay. Or another example could be, hey, show me MPID, last name, and the hire date only if the person is hired after 2005, January 1st, or January 1st of 2005, and order those employees based on a hired date in ascending order, like that. Okay, so if you do that, then the 102, 105, and 101 hired after or on January 1st of 2005, as you can see over here. Or if you want to see it, the other way, and then you can say descending order, like a DSC, and then obviously it will be the order will be changed like this. The most recent hire first, and the oldest one at the last, like 102 Smith, 2005, July 5th. Okay. All right. Now let's look at more realistic the restriction conditions. So when you have more than one condition, we need to use some logical operators to connect those multiple conditions. Okay, so there are two operators we need to understand: AND operation and the OR operation. Okay, so let's take a look at them first. Okay, so let's go to page 12, the last page of this document. Alright, so let's look at these three logical operators: AND, OR, and the NOT operation. Alright, so first AND operation. For an AND operation to be true, both operands has to be true. Okay, so remember this carefully. Both operands have to be true. Okay, so true and true is true. True and false is false because one is false, and false and true are also false because there's one false. And the false and the false is actually false. For some reasons, I found a lot of students thought false and false is somehow true. That's not true. So remember this: false and false is false. Okay. So for an AND operation to be true, both of them have to be true, and everything else is false. Okay. Now let's look at OR operation. For an OR operation to be true, then at least one operand has to be true. Okay, like true or true, true, because both are true, and true or false is true. Okay, because one is true. False or true is also true because there is one true, and false or false is false. Okay. Another very useful operation is NOT operation. Okay, so not true is false, and not false is true. I think that's simple enough. Alright, so let's go back to original the SQL operation page. Okay. Alright, so now we understand how to use AND operation. Okay. Alright, so let's make a copy of these three statements and paste it on SQL Server. Okay. Copy and paste. Okay. Okay, let's take a look at from the first statement. So first statement basically trying to get the employee information about employee ID and salary and the hire date only if the salary is no less than $30,000 and hire date is also no less than January 1st of 2006. So let's look at one by one, line by line. So when you execute this, this is a typical projection operation on employee ID, salary, and hire date. Out of this, we need to satisfy these two conditions. Okay, these two conditions. And as you can see over here, this AND operation. So those two conditions have to be true to be listed for the output. So for example, like this one, 101 is 100,000. So this will be true. And this is 2006 June. So that will be true. So 101 satisfies these two conditions. How about 102? This guy is making 56,000. So this will be still true, but the hire date is 2005. So the hire date, this will be false, both 102. So true and false, so that will be false. So 102 will not be included in the output. How about 103? So 103 is making 35,000. So the first condition is still true because 35,000 is greater than 30,000. But the hire date is 2003. So the so this condition will be false. so true and false, so that will be false. Okay, again, for an AND operation to be true, both operands have to be true. So if you execute this one, so only 101 will be listed because 101 is the only employee satisfying these two conditions. Okay, let's look at the next one. So over here, I would like to have the employee information about employee, last name, and the salary for employees making somewhere between $50,000 to $100,000. So this one has to be an AND operation. So salary is greater than or equal to 50,000, or salary is less than or equal to 100,000. So anybody making less than 50,000, this will be false, and this will be true. But false and true, that will make a false. So somebody making let's say 200,000, the first condition may be true. First condition is true, but the second condition is false. So the people making 200,000 will not be included. But the people making let's say 75,000, the first condition will be true because 75,000 is greater than or equal to 50,000, and the 75,000 is less than or equal to 100,000. So let's execute it and see how it goes. So 102, 106, 109, they all make somewhere between 56,000. This guy's making 65,000 and 70,000. So, and sometimes actually the SQL Server or SQL provides some convenient operator like between and AND. Instead of writing like this, you can write more like in English. So these two statements basically are doing exactly the same thing. So select employee last name and salary, and this time salary between 50,000 and 100,000. So these two statements are exactly the same, but this one kind of it reads better. Okay, so let me execute it. So basically exactly the same thing. Alright, let's take a look at how the OR operator works. Okay, so let me make a copy of these statements. Okay, and paste them on the SQL Server. Alright, so let's take a look at each statement one by one. Okay, the first one, what we are trying to do is show the employee ID and the salary and the hire date if the employee making more than or equal to $100,000, or that person was hired after January 1st of 2006 or on January 1st of 2006. So let's take a look at each line one by one. So let's project this statement without conditions. Okay, and then you're gonna have 101 all the way down to 109. So let's look at some of the employees. So 101 is making 100,000. So first condition is true. Since these two conditions are connected using the OR operator, as far as one condition is true, we don't even have to look at the second one. Okay. How about the next one, the 102? So 56,000. So salary is less than 100,000. So first condition will be false. And if you look at the second condition, so this will be also false because 2005 is before 2006. How about this guy, the 109? So this guy is making 70,000. So the first condition is false, but this guy is hired. Well, this guy hired actually 2,000, so it's still false. Okay, so let's execute it and see who's actually satisfying these conditions. Okay, so 101, 107, and 108. So 107 making 105, so that first condition is true. 108 is making a lot of money, 655,000, so obviously first condition is true. So these are 3 employees satisfy these 2 conditions connected by the OR operator. Okay, so let's look at the next one. So over here we want to get the information on employee ID, last name, and the salary if they make less than 50,000 or making more than 100,000. So let's take a look at again. Let's look at some of the rows. So how about 101? 101 is making 100,000, but this one will not be in the output result because this condition is greater than 100,000. So this will be false, and this condition also will be false for 101. How about 103? 103 is making 35,000, so first condition will be true. Again, since this one is an OR operator, we don't even have to look at the second one because as far as the first one of the condition is true, OR operation will be outcome of the OR operation will be true. Okay. All right. So let's execute it and see how it goes. So 101, 103, and 108. So if you look at each employee, they satisfy these 2 conditions connected by OR operator. Okay. Another way of writing the same query for the same result is using not operator. So on the previous page we talked about the between and and. So not between and and is outside the range of 50,000 and 100,000. So basically these 2 are the same queries. But this one sounds more like English than this one. So either way is fine, whichever you want. How about let's look at the next one. So let's look at this one first. Over here, what we are trying to do is show the employee information about employee ID, salary, and department number if they work for either 100 or 200. So let's execute this one first. So the first one, 101, is in 100, so this will show up in the result. And 103, that one also working for 200, so that will satisfy this condition. So let's take a look. So anybody working for 100 or 200 will show up in the result. So if you want to rewrite this condition without using in, and then you need to use the OR operator. So the condition will be like department number is equal to 100 or department number equal to 200. So these two do the exactly same thing, just a syntactical difference. Okay. Or you can say, hey, show me the employees about their employee ID, salary, and department number if they work for the any department other than 100 or 200. So as you can see over here, nobody's working for 100 or 200. If you want to rewrite this one without using in, and then you can use the or like this. So department number is 100 or department number equal to 200, and then you can negate the whole thing. So these 2 statements basically do the exactly same thing, just different syntax. Alright, sometimes we try to find information based upon the sound of the values. because we don't know how to spell some of the values, like for example, like somebody's name. So in these examples, what we are trying to do is getting the data we want based upon the sound of the last name. For example, like a Smith or Erickson, and depending on people, sometimes their names can be spelled very differently. Okay. All right. So as usual, let's make a copy of these statements. Okay. And then paste them on the SQL Server. Okay. So what this one does is, okay, let's look at the statement line by line. So this one basically showing employee ID, last name, and salary. Okay. But this time condition is a look at the check the sound of the last name with a sound of Smith. Okay. So if you look at all the employees, the person 101 has a Smith with I, 102 has a Smith with a Y, but they probably sound about the same. So let's see how it goes. So when you execute this statement, so we have 3 people whose last name sounds like a Smith, like 101, 102, and 106. Okay. How about the next one? Okay, this time we want to find employees whose last name sounds like Erickson. Okay. So the 107 has a last name Erickson, but this time it's a Ericson. 108 has an Erickson, but it's going to be Erickson, and so on. 109 has a different way of also spell his or her last name, but basically sounds about the same. So Soundex function is actually very powerful when you try to find information based upon the sound of the values. All right.